Okay. Welcome to the Carroll Community Center Building Committee meeting of July 14th, 2025. My name is Dick Malkin and I'm chair of the Building Committee. Following this meeting is being recorded. Following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please refer to the town website for instructions. So I'll start with a roll call of committee members present. David Billings.
Yes.
Ruth Townsend.
Yes.
And I don't see Luciana.
She's still in Italy.
She's still in Italy. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So that gives us a quorum. So we'll get started with on the agenda. Minutes for approval. I must confess that I did not get a chance to review the minutes. So I guess they just came over this afternoon. So I don't know if anybody else has, and if they've got a chance to look at them.
Why don't we table it for next month?
Yeah,
Meeting.
I would agree with that. Good idea. Okay. So moving on to the next agenda item, construction progress and schedule. And with that, that's Igley from Collier's Project Leaders. Can take us through it.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Apologies for getting things over to you guys later this afternoon and not giving the time to review it. We'll make sure to get that out earlier for the next meeting. So taking through the construction progress and schedule. So in June, a lot of the work has been on the exterior side. The site trees and shrubs have been installed. Gravity wall has been installed. Final paving of phase 2 we have scheduled for the end of this week. Line striping has been completed, and the 6-foot fence has been installed along the Whiting Road side, excuse me. And then the interior side, the contractors are working through punch list items, wrapping up things like interior signage. I believe all we have left is just some touch-up painting. We did get the certificate of occupancy as of 7/3, so that's been received, which is great news. The punch list, actually, we got from M. O'Connor the completed punch list, or what they believe is completed as of this afternoon. And I'm sure, Katie, I don't know if you had a chance to review it. I reviewed it a little bit, but I've got some comments on it.
I have not gone through it all.
Understood. And then, so some upcoming activities for expecting fencing to be completed and landscaping final completion. Obviously, the sod install, we're tentative for August 15th at this point. Is there any questions? I'll run through some pictures of the site if there's no questions.
What was the date of substantial completion?
7/3, Dave.
Oh, so it's the same as occupancy.
Oh, so apologies. Date of substantial completion will be 7/3. We'll be backdating it for the date of certificate of
All right,
occupancy.
so you haven't signed it off yet.
Yeah, we haven't signed it off yet. It's been drafted. We were actually just waiting for the punch list to be sent over from M. O'Connor. So once Katie and I have a chance to review that, we got that this afternoon. So once we have a chance to review it, we'll go through it and we'll draft the paper, the certificate, and send it over to them. Yep.
May I ask an innocent question, but it's an expensive one? Why are we backdating a certificate of occupancy?
To be honest with you, this is the direction that I was given, but
no, it's not it's the substantial completion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's
So
different.
why are we backdating substantial completion?
To align with obtaining a certificate of occupancy. I mean, if the contract is 99% complete and you have certificate of occupancy, so by contract that is substantial completion. So they just haven't done the paperwork. So it's really not backdating. It's really establishing is how I would take it.
establishing the warranty date is how it was worded to me. Yep.
Well, yeah, again, why? I mean, if they're not ready, we're still not ready. We're still not using it. We're 9 months late. Why are we giving them a break at $2,500 a day?
That's the contract terms, Dave, unfortunately.
The contract says that you can backdate substantial completion.
It's not essentially backdating it. We're as Dave Billing said, we're just completing the paperwork, as we receive it. C of O was issued by the town on 7/3.
So if the paperwork wasn't complete, would all the building inspectors sign off?
Well,
It's just a letter from the architect that shows the certificate of substantial completion. The C of O was signed off by the building inspectors and building department.
Katie, could I ask where you guys are then?
Yeah, so Dave, there's a couple of things. So one, the original inspections gave a TCO, so temporary. That was for 30 days. It was renewed, and on July 3rd, that's when the building department came through, and they had to review. They had 5 comments on the initial TCO that were related to some things that they wanted to be complete in order to establish full occupancy. So when, before that, in order for the building department to come through to do their inspections, everyone from the design team, including the engineers, we all did our punch list, we all walked through, and were able to establish that the minimum means of scope were complete, and everyone issued their affidavits, and the affidavit saying, yes, we believe that this building, while there are some things that are not totally complete, are ready for occupancy. So we had already issued the affidavit. That's the part that says, yep, we've addressed the life safety. The majority of the scope is complete. This is acceptable to review. That's usually the thing that the building department will want first, because they don't want to go to inspect a building where, things are open, but also, the designers aren't signing off on it. So that happened first. Then we had TCO. Now the building department is saying, yes, we can grant you occupancy. And occupancy is a couple of things, but primarily it's saying, insurance is now on the owner's side. This can be occupied by the general public. So as Ziegler was saying, the substantial completion really just identifies the date at which the building was available to be occupied. It doesn't mean it's a date that you have to move in or, be, doing business in that space. At this point, the building is occupiable, can be open to the public. Certainly, the tenant side of things, they're going to figure out when they move everyone in and, when they want to be taking, calls, where Parks and Rec is set up, where COA is going to be having meetings. But at this point, the building is occupiable. So that's what this substantial completion form is identifying. And really, it is just the beginning of when the warranties start. So the 1 year minimum of warranties, it'll start on July 3rd.
Again, I ask, why are we backdating then? Why are we cutting off our warranties? Why are we cutting off our $2,500 a day penalties? Why are we doing this when it's not complete? We've been held to the detail of a contract. We're 9 months late. Why are we backdating this?
So in the original contract, in the original schedule, there were kind of 2 dates. They went for substantial completion and then final project. So this is it. We are at substantial completion.
Why are we backdating it?
We are backdating it because I can't say when the building inspector is going to sign off on something. And more importantly, we don't need to be on site for that. So there was a TCO that said temporary. We're going to give you some conditions. There were 5 of them that got renewed. When the building department came back and said, we want to check your 5 conditions, those were the parameters that were needed in order for the building department to say, yes, the public can occupy this building. Those were granted, they were reviewed, and they said, yep, this building is good to go. So
as of 7/3?
Correct.
And why then the delay on paperwork till now? It's the 14th.
So the paperwork almost always happens afterwards because, as I said, it's not something that I can say the building department is going to be okay in the future. It's not really a forward. It really just comes down to when the inspection happens and the date we will put down on the form. And that is what all of the subcontractors will point to say my inspection, my warranty starts from that date. So as I said, it's the date that the building is occupiable, but it has nothing to do with when you need to move things in. So
I understand that. That's not, I'm not worried about the moving in part. That's easy. I just do not understand why we are allowing the contractor to say, okay, inspections happen, paperwork hasn't caught up, but you get to move in, our warranties start. We're still not moved in because we didn't know when that was going to happen either. And when you're this late, to cut that break is something I just do not understand.
Dave, can I chime in? This is Carl.
Sure. Please.
I believe it was the following week that Walter signed off. I don't have the date right in front of me for substantial completion. It was not on the 3rd. I believe it was the following week, like Wednesday of the following week, which would be, I don't know, the 10th. I don't have the date in front of me.
Well, I was told the 3rd was the date of substantial, or the date.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
the
what
building
they
department-
wanted, but Walter did not sign off on it until the following week because he doesn't work on Fridays. And I believe he had Monday off. I don't recall what the date was, but I believe it was the following week.
Well, the certificate of occupancy, there should be a date on it,
Yes,
so.
It's whatever
That's
that
gonna be
date
the
is.
date.
I mean, contractually, it is the architect that determines the date of substantial completion. And it's defined very clearly in the contract on what that is.
Right.
So it's not up to the building inspector, it is a contractual thing. Having an occupancy permit and having the contract value at above 99% requires a substantial completion. It's not something that we're fudging or moving. So it is the date where warranties start. The owner's insurance must take over the project. It is defined in the contract.
I believe we made sure that and it may have been early, it may have been the 3rd.
It's
But-
whatever that document is, but ultimately it's the
Right.
date signed by the architect.
Okay,
That is who determines it.
And
Carl?
Carl, we haven't yet seen anything formal from the building department. We know these meetings have happened. We know the review has happened, but that kind of answers another of your question, David Haviland. We just haven't signed the form because we haven't seen those pieces that say, okay, this is how we're going to connect the dots. This is when occupancy was granted, and we can evaluate and say, yes, as you know, we're at 99%. This is the date that will henceforth be the warranty date.
well, we can talk about that in person tomorrow. And I will have the piece of paper signed by the building department.
Awesome, great.
So does that answer your question, Dave Haviland? I mean, it's,
Yes and no, Dick. It still doesn't sit well at all, but I don't want to hold this entire committee up. But
I
You've
think that,
heard my
I think the certificate
concerns.
of occupancy will have a date on it issued by the town of Dover. And then the substantial completion is all defined in the contract, and there's a whole set of, it's all determined through contract terms. So,
that I understand.
okay. Okay, moving on. Igley.
All right. All right, so just run through a couple of pictures of the site. Just some of the plantings have been finalized. We've got bags over the trees. Line striping, some progress clicks here. It's been completed at this point. The seat wall has been completed over by the pavilion side. A little more examples of the line striping with the handicap spots. And then some pictures of the gravity wall. some progress pictures. This has been fully installed, and the rumble strip as well as the exterior signage and some plantings over by the gym side. A little bit more progress pictures of the gravity wall install. And then, like I said, this final drive aisle here is scheduled to be paved at the end of this week. Any questions or anything to bring up as far as progress?
The gravity wall looks fantastic. What about finishing it towards Dover Automotive?
So I believe the caps were the last thing that were left to be done on that, Dave. And they were supposed to be installing it at the end of last week. I don't have a picture of it because I'm planning on being on site tomorrow, but I don't believe
Still not there.
They have a
Yeah.
lead time. They're the only things that had a lead time with regards to these blocks, and it's just the caps to be installed on top of it. The wall
Okay.
itself is complete.
No, was the gravity wall going all the way to the corner where the metal container that Dover Automotive, it's slightly on our property?
I don't
Or is
believe
that
so, no.
just
This is
fence?
the height of it. Yeah, this is just the
Just
height of it.
fence.
Yeah, it's just fence.
Okay.
over there.
Great.
The
Thank you.
front fencing has been done from the Eye Doctor Place business to Springdale.
Oh,
6 foot.
terrific. That must have happened today or yesterday,
I would have
Or
to say maybe
today.
Friday.
Friday. All right.
They were on site at the end of last week doing some work over there. But yeah, exciting to see it. Thank God we got it behind us.
It looks good too, by the way, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked over and saw the wall, and thus my comment.
Okay, so as far as construction schedule, obviously we're nearing the end here. I've got as I said earlier, the punch list, we just received a formal back punch, essentially punch list from M. O'Connor this afternoon. So FMA will run through it, gather their comments, send it back to M. O'Connor, and then we'll be monetizing that punch list in order to get them completed, get all the subs out of there. Obviously TCO was expecting that to be done as soon as possible. I put the estimated date here because this is the date that we received the punch list, but expecting that to be done ASAP. As we mentioned before, TCO was 13th of May. Back punch work. I gave them about a week to get this work completed. After speaking to their site super today, there's only a little bit of paint work that needs to happen and a little bit of cleaning after that inside the building. However, the project team is going to be walking through the site tomorrow, so we'll get a good sense of that, of what is actually left on that punch list. But those are the comments that we received. So expecting that to be done in the next week or so.
Good luck, Igley.
Thanks, Carl.
Igley,
I appreciate the confidence.
On the punch list, have
Yes,
you
sir.
received does the punch list include punch list items that have been observed by the town, i.e. Mark and Carl?
No, Dick, I can speak to that.
No.
So we did that walkthrough approximately 3 weeks ago now, because at that point we were told that we would be getting this back punch eminently. I did do a walkthrough with Carl and Mark and Janet, which was great. I have some comments and things, but we haven't issued that because primarily we were waiting for this back punch first to see what had been addressed and picked up. We'll probably just issue that in a kind of isolated memo to add to the open backlist items. But there were several things that we did go through and flag. Many of them were things that were still on the punch list. That's also why I didn't want to issue a document that was just duplicating efforts. But all of that will get wrapped into the next number in our punch list series.
Okay, great.
Katie, plan on about 3 hours tomorrow,
Okay, thanks, Carl.
minimal.
And then obviously some of the remaining things that left on the site, obviously the sod install, the 15th of August, as we discussed at the last meeting. That's the next date that is available to be planting the sod. And then the final paving for phase 2 in that drive aisle, expecting it at the end of the week this week. The retaining wall completion, obviously it's been completed, and then certificate of occupancy, got it here as the 3rd of July. And then for the next meeting, we'll have the actual date of substantial completion and warranty date. I'll update the schedule with that once it's been issued.
Just so you know, Igley, I have talked to COA, and maybe I'm out of order. And I gave them a tentatively date with the blessing of the building committee of the first or second week in August to make the final move over there. Because
Okay.
they're anxious to get in the building, to get acclimated, so when we have the ribbon cutting, they'll be all settled in. Both
Understood.
Mark and COA are fine with the second at the latest to move in, if it's ready. They do not want any work done in the interior while they're occupying the space.
Okay. Understood, Carl. Thank you. Okay, is there any other questions on construction schedule or any of the progress?
At the last meeting, we asked that the corner of Springdale and Center, that area be included in the site plan. Was that issued?
Yes, so we went through that and kind of two things. So part one, the curved line that we saw is actually the property line, which is why it was included in the scope. We did coordinate with Carl and others just to make sure that that was something we could expand. We issued an ASI for that scope. It's
It's all
roughly
done.
it's done.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of the curbing on the access.
Got it. So
The
it
emergency, I'm
it-
sorry.
there was a combination of adding some sod to that corner, but we also subtracted it from a couple of traffic islands that don't need to have sod. And so there's
Okay.
there's an ASI. We're expecting a PCO for that scope. We
All right.
have talked about this. We know it's, August 15th is the magical date. So hopefully they bring about 1,000 square feet more, to fill in that corner.
All right, no, just as long as it's done. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. All right, so move on to the budget report. So I know we did not approve the M. O'Connor pay app as of last month. So this is the current pay to date. It's 18,195,000. I've got about $1.9 million unpaid at the moment. As far as construction, and then our normal fees for all of the expenses, monthly expenses, as far as such as Colliers, FMA, our storage, and some other invoices that we'll be presenting later. And then as far as contingency, we've got about 21% best case scenario with all of the change orders should they be approved. Currently, contingency is sitting at 43%, but with our forecast, should everything be approved, it would be right around 21%, as we presented last month as well.
Igley, could you share with us what is in that? What are the change orders that will have the contingency?
Certainly, that's on the next slide. Give me 1 minute. So moving to change orders. So these are the hard costs. No change in this from last month. These are all the approved change orders. Total amount is 836,725. And then as far as change orders that are pending, these are some of the items that we presented as still pending last month. We have since the ones in the blue, we have since finalized the pricing and are ready to present those change orders. PCO 40, PCO 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and PCO 100, but this will be CCD 27. Only reason why this will be CCD is just because it's got a time extension associated with it, and we do not agree with that. So we're going to go the CCD route with no schedule extension. And I'm happy to dive into any of these PCOs if you guys would like me to. They were included in my meeting link. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to take a look through them, but these are
Yeah,
the ones that we have been tracking for the past couple of months that we've been waiting for pricing on.
The vestibule doors still do not work.
This is for the access system, Carl?
Yes,
Gotcha. Okay.
and the swipe card stopped working.
Swipe cards stop working. Okay. We will We can let them O'Connor know that they're not working. I'm sure they'll send a tech out to get that addressed.
They've already had somebody on site a couple times, and they're
Okay.
pointing fingers.
Oh, geez, okay. We'll get it taken care of. Not a problem.
Just so you know.
I'm happy to stop here, but I do want to answer Dave's question because some of those change orders are in the soft costs, Dave. So these are as far as the soft costs that have been approved so far. These are what we have approved. The only changes from last month is just the foundation waterproof painting that's been moved up here, and obviously the updated quote for the VE site furniture that we got last month. So that total cost is $569,806. Excuse me, I do not have this one updated. Give me 1 second. I will show the remaining change orders. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Apologies. So this is the updated soft cost change orders. So the updated number includes the monument sign that we approved last month, the additional FF&E items by Parks and Rec, which is the additional chairs, some of the desks and the chairs in the conference room in Parks and Rec, as well as the additional chairs in the pavilion and the carts, and then the site furniture updated quote. And then this is the remaining outstanding items, if you will, that we're tracking to come up with that 21% number, Dave.
So you have those included in your in your forecast?
Yeah, these are included in that bottom line number.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just putting these as placeholders at the moment, just because we don't have updated pricing on them. We did get some of these ancillary items. I still left this as a placeholder just because we're still waiting to finalize the order for the refrigerators, the under-counter refrigerators, or at least I haven't seen the invoice for that yet. But the oven racks and other small ancillary items we did order, so
Okay.
that's taken out of that. Is there any questions on this? Sorry, I know I just ran through a lot of all of these.
So pending is in blue or yellow?
So pending pricing is in yellow. Pricing that we've received and are ready to vote on is in blue. And then in white here, this is a change order that we have been going back and forth with and cannot come to an agreement with M. O'Connor. We have this here as a placeholder, but at the moment we do not agree with this and we will not be presenting it to the committee for approval.
How far away are we? I mean, we need to kind of wrap up these issues.
So Dave, I'll be honest with you. I think the only big one that we're still waiting on is just this retaining wall phase 2 from M. O'Connor, which would be the change in block. The rest of these change orders that
75,000. So
yeah, they still haven't sent us the pricing on it. We've been pushing for it, but unfortunately, I do not have it on hand. This is
all
just
right. Well, I was thinking about the ceiling framing. Are we that far apart?
The ceiling framing were, I would say, probably 10K off. Katie, correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's kind of been a little bit since we've discussed this, but I think the number that we came to was like 18K.
I would say it's a larger discrepancy, and ultimately this comes down to coordination that didn't happen and some additional labor that needs to happen to, support
Alright.
additional blocking. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're pretty far off on that one, Dave. But yeah,
The curving for the flaring of Springdale's already been done.
yes, that has been done. They just submitted the cost for that, Carl.
Okay.
And that was for 2,000.
The brick removal and cleaning at 1910. Could you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, of course. So this was for some work that was done back in the fall. We've gone back and forth, with M. O'Connor and Commercial Masonry, who's the mason on this one. quite a bit, and we didn't agree with some of their time and material slips. They were sort of dipping into their contract work with those slips. They were able to join us on one of our progress meetings a couple weeks ago, and we were able to come to a consensus of what was actually additional scope versus what was base scope. And this number was reduced from about 9,500 to the 7,200. This is to essentially remove and clean some of the brick in the 1910 building. They did own a lot of repointing in that area. But there was some area that was also needed additional repointing and cleaning. And this was for time and materials work for that.
I guess my comment was if this committee knew what all the brickwork, cleaning, removal, chipping that was going to go on in the aggregate, I mean, I just feel like this has been piecemealed out to us. Like, oh, they'll give us 2, they'll give us 5, they'll give us 3. I mean, the total has been a huge amount of money, Igley.
So Dave, I can speak to this one a bit more. So this came up on site from the Masons, and they said, listen, we're repointing the east side of the 1910 building, and it's where we put in 2 new windows. But while they were doing some repointing work, the phrase they said was some of these bricks are falling off the wall, as in they were being held kind of right and left with the mortar to the brick to side of them, but there was nothing holding them to the building beyond. And so once we did go through this and we reviewed some scope, some of the scope that they had highlighted as concerning, we did go back afterwards and we said, nope, that is contract scope. It's on the demo drawings. So to Igley's comment, there's been multiple rounds of review to say, yes, you did this work, but some of it was already contractually owned. And when they did take, when you're looking at the east side, there was a full stretch of the wall that they removed the brick. You could see there had been multiple rounds of previous waterproofing work that had been done there. We know the building had taken on water in the past. We know there had been repair. Clearly, there had been some repair before that was a stopgap. So when they pulled it back and we could see some waterproofing that was not from 1910, it was definitely in the, I don't say 20 plus years ago age. It had passed its life expectancy, but ultimately they were doing repointing work, and it didn't make sense for them to come in and do some, two things out and saying, okay, we're going to patch this, when ultimately they, the brick, there was nothing behind it supporting it to the wall in the back. So when we looked at that and a few other areas that just looked concerning, we coordinated on the team and we said, listen, this feels like something that should be a not to exceed of 40 hours of work, plus or minus, to give them some ability to, draw from that as a piggy bank, because we knew there would be some other unforeseens, hidden conditions, not literally, everything's not going to be visible until you get into it. And so that, to Igley's comment, this has been ongoing for a while. The work was done quite a while ago, but we were reviewing and redlining the scope to pull out that contract scope and to pull out the things where we said, yes, you did this work, but this is double dipping, so we're not paying for you for this. So I appreciate what you're saying, was this probably feels like it's like the 3rd or 4th go back to the well. This was probably one of the first items that the Mason brought to our attention to say it's existing building, we can repoint this, but it doesn't feel like the best, use of our time to, kind of glue it back on and make it look whole. Really, the brick needs to be removed and then replaced properly. That was probably a longer answer than you were looking for, but
No,
this
I appreciate the detail.
I assume, Eagly, you'll be on these items that are highlighted in light blue. You've got another slide to review concerning them.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I've got them as just PDFs here, Dick.
Okay, well, I just want to, so we can stay in order of your,
Yeah.
your agenda here.
Yep, absolutely. So, sorry. So this is PCO 40, revision 2, total number is 7248 as we discussed. And then essentially these are the backup and the slips that we have been going back and forth with the Mason.
Okay.
Is there any questions or any additional questions on this one?
No.
Okay, so next one would be the added signage. Oh, sorry. Side 38. All right, so the additional signage, 66, 75. This is for adding 6-inch tall letters, the acrylic letters on the south side, and the 4 Springdale Ave aluminum letters on the front side. I feel this is pretty
Okay.
fair. We were holding pretty significant amount for this one and came in significantly under, so.
That's for both. That is a good
Yeah, no, that's
outcome.
good.
We were holding like 7K just for the backside, and this is just for both, so ended up coming out pretty good.
Higley, excuse me, it's Carl again. They're still missing the floor on the front side of the building facing Springdale.
Got it. Yeah, Carl, I don't think all of this has been completed, but we did get the pricing for all of it.
Okay. Well, I just didn't want, because it's been comments from the fire department that there's no floor on Springdale for the community center.
Gotcha. So they're just missing the number.
Yes.
No, well, I don't think they have Springdale Ave up. They just have.
No, Carroll Community Center.
Yeah, that's
It's
all that's
supposed to
there.
have a floor on it.
Yeah, it's gonna have it spelled out, Carl. It's gonna have 4 Springdale Ave spelled out underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that must not all be installed then.
Well, that's
Okay.
good news.
Okay. Sorry. Apologies, I don't have these in order, but PCO 105, this is for the install of the radius curb over on the drive aisle, the service entrance. This is essentially just to make this a little bit more flush to the sidewalk. There was some curb that was installed there, was not flush, and presented a hazard. Essentially, this is the cost to remove it and install a new one.
So the contractor installed per plan, right? And then this PCO is to,
Now, this existing curb that they,
It's they worded it as existing curb, but it's because it was already installed, David.
so this is new work that wasn't,
It was installed per plan, so they essentially had to rip up what they installed, and we installed a new one that has a bigger radius on it.
So the
um,
contract scope ended at the property line. What has been installed, and I haven't seen the pictures of this, so Carl, I know you have, was basically going out to the edge of the street. So it's additional, it's tying into that additional piece that is already at the street. So there was some contract work, sorry, some concrete work to that sidewalk that had been placed and granite curbing.
Basically reconfiguring the curbing so it matches to the sidewalk.
I can pull up a picture. Give me one
and
second.
Okay.
the reason why that wasn't captured originally, Katie, if I understand you correctly, is because your documentation was only to the property, was defined as only to the property lines.
Correct.
Okay.
This is
well,
just
it should have gone into the street. I mean, you gotta connect to existing.
So
But,
the scope that was in the drawings was to the sidewalk. The sidewalk part would be flush and would have an accessible slope. And then the granite curb that's at the street would stay where it is as is. So what you can see here is basically we've got granite curb and then sidewalk and then granite curb, and they're not connected. So what has been installed is a continuous granite curb.
To tie into the sidewalk.
All right.
And then the next one would be the added gravel. Actually, excuse me. So dropping of the dockhouse manhole over on the Center Street side. Essentially, this was too high originally, not in the contract documents. This is just labor and materials to drop this.
Still a little high, but it's probably as low as they can get it.
Yeah, I don't think they can go lower than this actually. So
Okay.
But may I ask, like, why is this on us?
this was existing. The height was existing, and it was much higher than
The
Then-
new grade.
Oh,
the
so
new-
that whole thing was existing before they even came on site.
Yeah, this
Got
was
it. Never
existing.
mind. Yeah, got it. That's fine.
Okay, so next one is just a credit for the removal of the oak trees, the 3 oak trees, over on
It
2
was
Whiting.
on the neighboring property?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Alright.
yeah, this was the credit for it. And not really much that we can say to it. Typically you get pennies on the
Okay.
dollar for this stuff, so.
Alright,
So they're saying that the cost of the tree plus installation is $675 per,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay. And then the last one is just the access control for doors in the vestibule. As I said, this will be a CCD for the sake
Yeah.
of presentation. I marked this up as 0 days, but the number, we do agree with the number, we do agree with the work, but this is to make this make the vestibule doors integrate with the access control system. And Katie, how I understood it was only 2 of the doors were integrated, not both of the swinging doors were integrated.
Correct. So the interior vestibule door, so the one closer to the inside, was basically owned as not secure. So the outermost ones were the secure doors. The innermost one at the vestibule was not. However, we had the same hardware set at both of them. So ultimately, if we didn't go forward with this additional electrical bells and whistles, the motors of the doors would eventually wear down because just of the way it was set up. So we had 2 options. Option one was let's kind of downgrade the hardware and make it a non-secure, wall or door. At that point, the hardware had already been installed, and the potential, change in schedule or swapping something out really didn't make sense to go forward. So that we went to the sort of betterment option, which is yes, let's put in the electrical bells and whistles, so that now we have 2 consistent secure doors, and they're all tied into security as well. If there was a situation where you wanted to leave the innermost one locked, but someone might want to stand, in the vestibule, this is going to give you that ability.
Why is the contractor putting in 21 days of delay?
So that's why Igley had said he marked this one up and it will be a CCD. I believe that some of the comment that we've heard back is that anything after their forecasted substantial completion, which was October of last year, they are seeing as additional days. I'm not sure how they determined that number, but everything that we've been getting since October, we have been issuing it out as a CCD for that sole reason that we could cross out the days and say, we're going to look at the number, the price, we're not going to look at the schedule impact.
Well, when we get to the negotiating table, they just threw in 20 more days, 21 more days.
yeah.
So, I mean,
So
ultimately, you could.
why did this begin? Why are we in this situation to begin with? I mean, why was the hardware spec'd or installed or whatever? Why are we in this situation?
So ultimately, this comes down to coordination of this effort. So what I had owned in my drawings was the same hardware set in both of these applications. In coordinating with our consultants, the electrical side had owned it as something different, a different operation. So that part did not get 100% coordinated to all of the parts and pieces. The reason why we are here right now and why that says 21 days is because this wasn't identified until after it was reviewed and installed, and the electrician or the security sub, I'm not sure who, had identified that basically, hey, you're missing some, we can't complete this installation without some additional power. And I'm kind of saying that loosely. So it wasn't brought to our attention until probably, I think that says May in that part. So that's more of the timeline specific.
So for no fault of our own and through the lack of coordination, we're being asked to spend another $7,400 and give up $2,500 times 21 days in the negotiation.
So
Well, I wouldn't put the second part in. Right now, we're just
When
paying
we
the
get down to
condition.
the nitty gritty, I think I would, David. I mean, they're going to take all of these days that we're
They will.
disallowing and they're going to try and apply them to the general contract.
Yeah, and they need to prove it.
Or, we spend more money on legal fees than it's worth and they get what they want. I just, What number is this?
This is number 100.
Can you go back and ask them to remove the 21 days?
We've tried, and it's actually the electrical subcontractor that's holding to that 21 days. These are filed sub-bidder, so they have the right to request a schedule impact, and we still do not agree. But unfortunately, even the contractor would not ask them to remove those days because they do not agree with it.
So what's an alternative?
I mean, it's sort of what David was saying earlier. You know, they'd have to prove that this time extension is valid. Ultimately, this was discovered after their contract completion date, original contract completion date, due to their scheduling and them being delayed. So they don't really have much of a leg to stand on. It is ultimately a coordination item, yes, but this should have been caught well ahead of their completion date. Were they on actual schedule?
Just voice that it doesn't sit well at all.
No, I agree, which is why we're striking it out of our.
No, the whole situation, why Dover has to pay $7,500 and give up negotiating time for acts of others.
I think the last one that I had is PCO 102, and I don't know if I have this pulled up here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this one up. This is for
The gravel.
the added gravel. Yeah. Excuse me.
So there was already gravel down and this is just bringing it up to the current
No,
level?
no.
It was long.
No, so yeah, and David, when we talked a bit before about the additional sod at the corner, this is kind of one of the areas I was lumping together. There's a few small areas where we had called to be loam, sod, you know, a different material. And in reality, it doesn't make sense for anyone on the maintenance side to try to be weed whacking or mowing, you know, around the generator. So this was part of the areas where we're adding some gravel to that. And so that's what this PCO is. But on the flip side, on the sod side, we will be getting a credit for those small takeoffs of space. So so this PCO is just a plus. It's a plus for gravel, but we will be getting the credit on that sod in a different one.
So what's the square footage of where that gravel went down? Less the generator itself.
I think we got, didn't they give us a yardage?
I just got lump sums.
I mean,
I think it's just lump sum on this one as far as material.
yeah, almost all of it is labor.
Yeah, it took them all of an hour to do it.
So we pay for 8 hours.
Well, they're charging us for the travel time also for this one.
Igley, I mean, again, we got some gravel distributed around that box for $4,400. Would you pay that at home?
Dave, that was my exact argument, and Katie was in the meeting with me making this to Crystal and M. O'Connor. So, but unfortunately, we are paying prevailing wage rates. This is union labor. I 100% agree with you. I would absolutely not pay it at home, but unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with at the moment.
It's the nature of public construction.
Did they provide slips that show that they actually took them in 8 hours to
Spread this
spread
out.
the gravel?
They didn't provide slipstick, but this is just their PCO breakdown.
Yeah.
So because this work was done in advance of authorization, you know, I think, Dick, your question is a good one, which is we do have the ability to push back on this or ask for additional information. And Igley, you can confirm this, but I don't think that they notified you in advance in order to sign off on the slip. Is that correct?
They did not.
So initially, when we had issued this, we were going on the site and we were looking at, operations and maintenance and saying, hey, does this space really want to be grass? And the other part of this, we did also ask them for some pricing on some planting beds, because we said, hey, Parks and Rec, Mark might need some mulch in some areas. So initially we had asked them that question really just to get pricing. We needed an order of magnitude. And if it made more sense for the landscape sub to do it while they're on site, that's how we went. They did go forward and they did the work ahead of time. So they have done the work. I do think that they deserve to be paid. I think if we're looking at this and want to, push back on and ask for additional information on the labor, I think that's a reasonable request. But this is work that did happen. Like I said, it's tricky because they did it in advance of authorization. So they are owed some monies. We can, continue to talk about what that value is.
Well, let's start with 50% and work our way down. I mean, seriously, $4,400 to deliver some gravel and rake it around.
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate what you're saying, and kind of like what Igley was saying before is, I think we can put it on them to prove it to us. So instead of having to do that math, I think we can say, listen, prove it to us, give us some additional information that supports the time and the material. So I don't think anyone's concerned about the rock. The stone is not really the expensive thing here. Sometimes that is something that we ask for more invoicing and say, hey, show us the receipt because this seems high. If the question is the labor, the rates, there will be a rounding up. We don't pay for an hour and 17 minutes of work if that's what it is. So there isn't things do get rounded up generally in 4s and 8s. But that's a reasonable comment that we can say, just validate this, and the who and the when and the pay rate, at least that validates it and says, yes, this is what it really cost.
Well, you two now have a Dover employee who said that it took about an hour, so they can round up to 4, not 8.
Okay. We'll go back to them for this. Okay. So that is all of the PCOs that we are ready to present at the moment. Is there any questions, any other discussion?
Nope.
Awesome. Dick, and I don't know if we need to vote on these. I'm assuming we're not going to be voting if we do for the generator. We can certainly go back to O'Connor for this revised price, or if you want to do it at a not to exceed.
Yeah, so if you can, we need to make a vote for recommendation to the selectmen, and I would recommend that if you could remove the gravel
Mhm.
at the generator, PCO 102, and then if you could add up the other ones. Let me just ask Ruth and David Billings, are you on board with the other ones?
Yeah, that's
I am
fine.
too, but just want to check. Ruth, are you on board with the other ones?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Dick, give me 1 second. Give you the number. Okay, the total that I have is 23,423 and 49 cents, minus the added gravel.
Okay.
So does the 23 does not include the gravel, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So I move that we recommend to the Board of Selectmen approval for PCO 40 in the amount of $7,248.16. PCO 101 in the amount of $6,666.75. PCO 103 for a credit of $2,168.99. PCO 104 manhole cover at Center Street lawn, $2,202.12, and PCO 105 flaring in the amount of $2,056.73. and PCO 100 for $7,418.72 for a grand total of $23,423.49. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, for those, if you could let me know if you are in favor of David Billings,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I am as well.
Awesome. Apologies, I must have double included one of these slides, but just running through the contingency as we discussed earlier. About 99% complete, and the total project is about 92% complete billing wise at the moment. All right, so moving to the invoice summary. So at the moment, we got our Colliers project leaders invoice, Eagle Leasing for the storage, monthly storage. We've got an Amazon invoice for some trays for the warming oven, Granger invoice for some cabinetry for key control, and then the two M. O'Connor pay apps, the FMA invoice, and we've got an invoice for Voltrek, who is the vendor for our EV chargers. This is just a material only invoice. We do have those in stock, excuse me, on hand. But they have not been installed just yet. We're waiting on a meter from Eversource for those to be installed.
Who has a contract to install those? Voltrek?
Actually, they're supposed to be town installed, but Voltrek, yeah, Voltrek installs them themselves. These are just the
Okay.
excuse me, I explained that really wrong. Yeah, Voltrek installs it.
Okay.
Is there any questions or anything like that?
Yeah, I got a question, Igley, for Colliers. So this is a lump sum of 21,154 for our final month of closeout. So I don't understand why Colliers is invoicing for 100% of their 100% of closeout when we're not close to closeout.
So, I mean, originally we had an amendment bringing us up to the final 2 months of closeout for May and June. So that was the new contract terms. And how it was explained to me is for the months of closeout, we do bill at a lump sum. However, our effort, it's not going to decrease, and we're not just going to go away. We're still going to see this through to the absolute end. But how it was explained to me is the contract term is to bill at a full lump sum amount.
So in other words, you're asking to be prepaid for closeout.
Wouldn't really say prepaid, but I mean, since given that we are in July, yes.
Yeah.
If I may, I would move to table this until the committee has further discussion.
I would agree.
Yeah, can we go through the two recs?
Yep, not a problem. So this is the May pay app.
Yeah, this is the revised one we didn't talk about last time, and looks like it's a little different from the notes that I sent you. But what I would say we need to add is the amount that we are holding.
On this front cover page.
Right, or the math doesn't add up.
Gotcha. Yep, not a
We're
problem.
holding 328,628.60.
So run that number by me again. I just don't have it in front of me.
Well, based on my math, it's 328,628.60.
Yeah, no problem. I can add this.
And we need a document that explains to O'Connor what we are holding and why. And that needs to be done on this rec and all previous recs.
So I know that we do issue a letter to FMAs when they certify the rec, showing what we are holding and why.
You send that to who?
To FMA when they certify it, or when they
is that included as a backup to the rec that O'Connor sees?
Correct, yeah, that's what we send it to the town. That's how we send it to the town as well during our,
Well,
approval process.
again, is that sent to O'Connor?
Yes. Yes, from how I
Okay,
understand it.
Well, we need that documented.
Okay, not a problem. We can send that over to you.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll send it to Dick for the committee.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't have any, so that takes care of 23. Let's go to 24.
So it's just 24.
Your line 7 is incorrect. Because you're
So-
including payments not made in 23.
Correct, yeah, because we haven't made any payments on that one, so I did not mark it up.
Well, not, well, even if we say we did pay it, that would still be wrong.
Correct, yeah, because they're still billing for what they believe they are owed. Even on
Well,
the,
except that they haven't been paid. They can bill for what they think they're owed. That's line 4. But 7 is what they've actually been paid.
I can mark this up and show that actual number.
Okay, yeah,
However, running this through the calculations, this is the actual current payments that and retainage of and work that's been completed. So all the other lines I did run it through the actual calculations, but I can show this marked up.
okay, because right now I'm showing that we paid them 18,405,799, and we're holding 357,894. But if we are taking July 3rd as the substantial completion date, liquidated damages, both for substantial and final, is 412,500.
I'll be honest with you, Dave. The calculations prior to Al leaving was done by him, so I'm not sure where that number came from. I know it is coming from the general conditions that for the contract, and not coming from anything as far as from the subcontractors.
Well, they're
But
just being taken from the front cover. I mean, we're assigning it to O'Connor, whether it's what line item it's taken out of is really not our concern. Because we're holding it on the contract.
gotcha.
It's just, we need to have this front cover, which is the G702 correct.
Okay.
In order to get it certified.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll mark this one up and I can share it with the committee. With
Okay.
line 7
Well, it's
marked.
also, we want to make sure that we're holding the liquidated damages amount. I mean, we also have all the retainage, so we're holding plenty of money. It's just, we need to be clear on what we are holding and why.
Oh, understood. I'll make
Okay.
sure to send out that document and this marked up to you guys.
I mean, at this point, we haven't released any retainage.
No.
Have we gotten any? Well, substantial completion, I guess, has technically just been issued. So we've got 60 days.
Yeah, we'll be expecting it on the next rec.
Okay.
Dave, just so I understand, this is retainage that is done above and beyond the penalties?
Well, we have liquidated damages against the contract. Then there's also retainage on all the subcontractors. I mean, we're holding 1.18 million. And there's we're holding almost $1 million in retainage, 997,000. That's a lot of retainage for a building that's pretty much done. And I'm surprised the subs are not screaming for release, but we just need to be aware of it. But we also need to hold that liquidated damage amount. We just you can be aware of it and make sure that we're holding it.
So the liquidated damages are a separate line in your mind, or are they part of that 997?
There would be a separate line because you can't take it from the trades. You have to take it from the contract. So it's not a specific line item in the G703, which is the backup.
So on the retainage, then that's going to be paid out because the work has been done and it's been approved and it's going to go, right? I mean,
Yeah, it needs to get reduced down to the monetized punch list value. That's why you monetize a punch list, so that you have a scope of work that's remaining and a value. It's usually 200% of an estimated value on each line item.
okay. And that usually gets done in the next 2 months since we just got our CO.
That would be nice. It usually takes longer, just to be quite honest, but
Thank you. That's
It's
good to
been-
set expectations.
yes, it's been a long time to get to this point. I mean, we were expecting substantial completion in March, April, not July.
Is there any other questions on these pay apps or on the invoices?
Yeah, so that's M. O'Connor, Fennec McCready. Again,
Is this FMA's final?
This is not final. So there were several meetings where we came back and similar to Colliers, we're trying to figure out how to extend both the time and then some additional services. So what you're seeing here is from ad service number 5. We submitted both a 5 and a 6. 5 was basically
Yeah.
saying, hey, we're extending some time. So what we had been invoicing for January, February, March, and April was a lump sum. And at that point, when we presented that, based on the contractor schedule that we had at that time, we were forecasting when substantial completion would happen and when the project would be ended. So we said we can submit these 4 months at a lump sum, and then from May 1st on, we recommended a not to exceed lump amount to be billed out as TNM. So this is for June time. So this is the second month. So both May and June, we submitted time and materials for FM. There was also some additional scope here for our consultants. So there was some for MEP, FP, and I believe landscape. I don't think that civil was in this month, but I can double check that. But those are both 2 additional scopes of work that were part of that ad service 5. Ultimately, additional site visits, additional work related to the extension of contract. Does that answer your question, Dick? I'm not sure. The short answer is we would continue to inspect to anticipate that there will be something for July. And we know that planting is going to happen in August, so likely both July and August there will be some time. But our original contract scope, we build that out 100%. That was back at the end of 2024. And as you know, similar to Colliers, we're not going anywhere. We know we need to continue through the project, but we didn't have a billing vehicle, which is why we had issued some ad service requests.
so just to clarify, you have already billed this is for the ad service proposal 05 for January, February, March, and April. You've already
Correct.
submitted invoices for that.
Yep.
Okay. So this is beyond that, and this was the hourly not to exceed 30K for any time beyond April.
Correct.
Okay. And Igley, have you had a chance to review the invoice?
Yeah, I did. I took a look at when Katie sent it to me, and it seems fair and reasonable.
Okay.
Not really sure we've had a chance to look at it. This is what came today.
Yeah, and to be exceptionally clear, David, we did send it to Colliers quite a bit late. I just didn't get it over to them. So it's the breakdown of said T&M for our scope, as well as MEP and landscape.
Well, I would recommend we table that invoice as well to give us time to take a look at it. Unless,
I would agree. I think we need to, as a committee, look at all these costs.
so if I'm understood, so we're on this list, Igley, of your list here, we're really talking about maybe making a recommendation for approval to the Board of Selectmen would be Eagle Leasing, the Amazon, the Granger, and the Voltrek.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you guys feel about the M O'Connor pay apps. But I can certainly send over the required documentation if you want to set up a meeting, and then I'm not sure later on in the month or.
It doesn't make sense to me for us to approve an M O'Connor invoice if the invoice needs to be edited and it's not correct.
Well, I'm not, honestly, I don't have any issue with the amount being paid, because, I mean, I just looked at them very quickly today. It seems as though, you know, we're showing work complete. It's just, we need to make sure that the front cover is correct and we're holding enough in liquidated damages. So I'm not, again, the 210,000, the 191,000, I don't really have any problems with, as long as we get the document correct.
But how are we gonna get that document correct?
Well, it needs to, it needs to have the amount being held on the front cover, so that the math that we're from previously paid to current payment is correct. And then, we also need to get certified, which FMA can do.
I personally, I don't feel comfortable unless we, until that's all done,
Okay, that's fine.
but your point's well taken, though. The contractor does need to get paid.
Yeah, and we've held 23 now for more, because it's supposed to be paid within 15 days. So we need to send it back for revisions in order to start the clock again. But 23, I think, is now, except for that note on the front, is correct. And we do need to correct the math on 24. So
we could,
yeah, I mean,
recommendation.
that is correct. If it's certified, that is correct.
I can send this to Katie and we can get it certified, but
Or is that 23?
this is 23.
That's 23. Yes. That is what I want to make sure is line 7 is noting exactly what has been paid, and then you make the deduct, and that gives you the current payment due. So, yeah, I think we do need to at least have, get 23 paid.
So we could make a recommendation for approval of 23 per this cover sheet being modified.
Yeah, I think you just did it, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we're going with. We're not getting O'Connor to correct it, so.
what if we've been holding on to this invoice well past the time allotted in the contract that we should be paid by, they should be paid by. So I assume we've opened ourselves up for a late payment fee.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, Igley and Katie, how long will it take for you to your companies to get these two invoices, the cover sheets taken care of?
They're done by tomorrow.
That-
I mean,
that's fine.
this is pretty much done. For 23 is done. Just need to send it for signature, but for 22, I'm sorry, 24, we can, we'll get it done by tomorrow.
Yeah, Dick, if you do it subject to Igley's math and Dave's math matching and the covers being done, you could approve them subject to that happening and then just let us know or let Mike Blanchard know that, yes, the provisions have been met or stipulations have been met or whatever the right word is.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we said subject to modifications per our discussion in this meeting.
Exactly. I mean, everyone knows what needs to be done. We want to make
Right.
sure that everything is done properly and then but to Dave's point, we can't just withhold money.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right, any discussion with Voltrek? I think that's the only one we haven't really hit.
No, that was kind of a separate contract anyway.
Right. Okay, so Igley, if we were to remove from this list or scratch out Colliers and FM, what do we get for a total?
Give me 1 second. So I've got a total of 424,321 and 11 cents.
424, 321 and 11 cents. Okay. All right. I move that we make a recommendation for approval to the Board of Selectmen for the following submitted invoices: Eagle Leasing at $398, Amazon $184.30, Granger $164.13, Voltrek $21,310. And M. O'Connor invoice 23 in the amount of $210,529.96, and invoice 24 in the amount of $191,734.72 for the MOCC invoices. They would be subject to modifications per our discussions we've recently had in this meeting. Is there a second? I don't know if I really put that well, but
Perfect.
if it
I'll
works.
second- I'll second it anyway.
Is there a second?
I believe so.
Okay, great. Okay, are you in favor? David Billings,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I am as well.
Thank you very much, everybody. So Dick, that is all I had on my agenda. The next item we have is just citizen comments. I'm not sure if there's anything else that you want us to discuss.
Yeah, I just wanted to catch up on, we had some items, we were looking into for pricing, and I assume we haven't gotten there with them yet for what we've been calling the VE items, the vertical trellis, extra plantings, sitting wall. And I also, so I was curious on the status of those. And also, I just wanted on the site, on the FF&E, we have two items which I know were present in your budget report. We had the site furniture, which I believe has been approved by Council on Aging and Park and Rec for a field test of sitting in it. Did that happen? And we all set with that? Has it been ordered? I just think you give us.
It has not been ordered. Just need the final go ahead, as long as everybody's good with it. Mark made his comments and I've revised the actual order per those comments. Just need the final seal of approval, make sure everybody had a chance to sit in it, and we'll get those ordered.
Okay, we've already made a recommendation for approval in a higher amount than they came in, so we don't need to take a further action.
Right.
As far as from the building committee goes, if I understand this correctly. Now, there was additional furniture for the, I think that was somewhere around the 18K, which you had in your budget. Is there, we have not made any, I don't believe as a committee, we have made a recommendation, or have we? I don't
I believe
recall.
we met one last month, Dick.
We did that last month?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, good. So that was those. And then another question I have is, where are we with FF&E? Where are we with WB Mason and the adds and deletes and credits? And there's been a bunch of going back and forth, I know.
So we had a meeting with WB Mason a couple of weeks ago. They finalized the list to be swapped out. That material is being ordered or has been ordered and is in the process of being brought out to the site. And then the way that it was worded to us, they will not issue the credit until they pick up what they actually have installed in the building. A little bit strange. I haven't seen that, but they're not essentially not issuing the credit until they pick up their materials. So the stuff for Parks and Rec and the additional chairs have been ordered, pending it to be brought to the site. But everything else, as far as the credit goes, has not been picked up yet.
Okay, so that's you're on top of, you're monitoring that one. Okay. Okay, well, that's all that I had. I don't know if Ruth, if you have anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on a very different note from everything else that we're kind of closing up the community centre club. So we're going to be doing an event this Thursday evening with Mark at the community centre club, and also on July the 30th. It's just an opportunity for the students to come in, maybe with their parents, just to be able to give them a chance to tour the final building. And give them certificates and letters of recommendation. My hope is that I can also still persuade them to come back and help with the opening week doing tours of the building as well, those of them that will still be here, because of course the seniors will be away at college by then. So anyone on here that would like to join us on either of those dates, you're very welcome.
Oh, very good. David Billings?
I guess two things. One is, where are we with the painting of the exterior sort of stone area?
The foundation, yeah. So I reached out to the painting company. He said that they are about 4 weeks out as of 2 weeks ago. So we're expecting that to happen in about 2 weeks. Summertime, everybody's busy
So
with the
before, yeah, no, I understand it. So before the end of July.
Yeah, expecting it. He's gonna give me a call to confirm like a week ahead of time, but yeah, expecting at the end of July.
Okay. The others, as a committee, should we look at a ribbon cutting event or date? Or is that something that the selectmen want to take up and take the lead on?
That was one of my questions, David. So you just beat me to the punch. We definitely want to know what your thoughts are, and then Mark, both you and then Council on Aging, are you guys still wrapping your arms around Dover Days?
Yes. So I can speak a little bit to it. I know I met with Janet, myself, Ruth, and Chris Costello from the town. So yeah, obviously fall's a busy time. So we're trying to do it on Dover Days just because a lot of people are in town and there.
Okay.
So the thought is the morning of Dover Days, but we did get approval from the police chief and from Kevin McCabe, DPW director, to shut down in front of the community center. So allow people to kind of move freely, and we can have more area in the front. But yes, talking with Mike Blanchard, Chris Costello, and those with the town. So Saturday, September 13th. As long as it works, as long as the committee is okay with it. But that's the plan right now.
Speaking for myself, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Combine it with Dover Days.
And
And to close the section of Springdale. It's a great idea.
Yeah, actually it is, and hopefully the sod will be in place.
Yeah, and the idea is just that'll be the start, and then we would have a week of grand opening activities throughout that. So Saturday we'll start it. So obviously for those that do not want to come, that many people, we have a plan in place. I met with COA last week and to do a bunch of events throughout the week. So Saturday to the following Saturday to have kind of a grand opening week.
Okay.
That's a great
In
idea.
in the meeting, Mark has got an excellent array of ideas for both the opening day and that week. And meeting with Chris as well means that he's got a great handle on the publicity and the promotion leading up to it, as well as Mark's department. They've got some great social media ideas, and the students from the community center club have also got involved in that.
Awesome. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
that's wonderful.
So I will say just one last thing, in order to be ready for that, I know Carl mentioned, I think the second week of August would maybe be a little late. So if we could get in, I know for Parks and Rec and COA, kind of that first week of August, kind of we're targeting that to kind of get over there, just to give us some time before that grand opening and having the public in the building.
Well, I think it's available. You guys can move in at any time. I mean, you still
Yeah, I
have
think
to
right
deal
now the
with-
biggest concern is just the WB Mason. So like they're gonna,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
for example, like shelving. We don't want to put stuff in the storage areas, but shelving had to be removed. Same thing. I know in COA office and the Park and Rec office, there's stuff that has to be removed. So I think that's the
Okay.
biggest thing left, that we can just get them on site to remove what they're gonna remove. That'd be, you know, then it's not interrupting
Okay.
the day-to-day operation.
No, I agree. Yeah. I didn't know that FF&E stuff was still kind of moving around stuff. So, all right.
Igley, is that something that you could help Mark in getting WB Mason to?
We'll
Get
we'll
going.
push on it. I mean, lead times are lead times with some of this material, but we'll push as much as we can as far as install. I'll find out an actual date of delivery for that for everything that's been changed, and yeah, we'll help Mark out. No problem.
And if you get a delay, if you could just let Mark know. I
course.
mean, obviously they're going on a timeline, and now we have to meet their timeline.
Not understood. Not a problem.
So am I hearing we're planning in the blessing from the committee? First week in August is fine with you guys?
Well, it's kind of dependent upon the project, you know, those things getting done.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I mean, we've got occupancy, so, you know, punch list may be going on, but you can still move in and set up desks.
Well, the desks
Yeah.
are all set
Start
up.
work in the
It's more-
building.
It's more, yes, I understand that, but it's planning for the movers, retrofit to move the electrical equipment. So I was kind of waiting to hear if the committee was fine with the first week in August. I know Park and Rec and COA is. I just wanted your blessing, I guess.
Well, the town is, you know, we have a full certificate of occupancy now.
Yes.
Basically allows the building to be occupied by user
Yes.
groups.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I think, you know, I would recommend it's, if, you know, that my personal feeling is that, yes, I mean, it's ready to be occupied. If
Yeah.
COA wants to move in and Park and Rec wants to move in, legally, you're allowed to, and
Like I said, I just wanted the blessing from the committee before I set the date.
Okay.
we're,
So,
Yeah, I have no reason to think otherwise. I agree with Dick. That's, you got occupancy,
yeah,
permit, occupy.
yeah.
okay. First week in August it is done.
Great. And then Dick, just to make sure that if anyone on your committee, if there's things that you want to see as part of this opening week, ideas that you have, just share them with Mark, because Mark has been kind of spearheading this.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark, you didn't realize that, did you?
That's
Well-
okay, and that's why we are Ruth's helping us out as well, so we want to make sure there's a connection to the building committee as well. So but yeah, so it's a group of us. It's not just me. There's a group of us. But feel free. Any recommendations, give them to Ruth, myself, anybody.
Yeah,
Great,
yeah, and we've been having some discussions behind the scenes as well, Dave. has,
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
yeah. Okay, any other comments, David Billings?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Dick.
Okay, are there any other comments from those on the citizen comments or from the Board of Selectmen or Mark or? If not, okay, then I move that we adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second, should we set it the next meeting? The date for the next meeting? There you go, August 11th.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
11, yeah.
I won't
Okay.
be here, I'm afraid, that date.
Um,
I'll be in the UK, and as much as I'd love to join you, it will be nearly midnight.
Oh.
So
or either Italy or UK, I tell you.
That's.
Can we do it the week?
is
We
it
gotta-
worth having another meeting maybe at the end of July?
Well, we have to hit, there is a rhythm to the invoicing from the contractors and payments. So that's why we kind of landed on the second
Monday at the,
Monday, but maybe we can, Ruth, what is your,
So I
I'll
leave
only-
on the 4th and I'm back on the 18th. But I fly, I'm back, I land that night, Monday night.
okay.
I mean, I can 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you need me as a quorum, I can try and join from the UK.
You're 5 hours ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, I might be a bit sleepy.
Yeah. Um,
so you would not be available the 4th?
No,
You're traveling that day?
yeah.
when does Luciana get back? Do you know?
She gets back on, she's available after Thursday of this week.
Okay, so at least we've got 3.
Yeah, you should have her, and if you're around, Dave.
Yeah, it's the problem of having only 4 people on a committee. Yeah, I can do the 11th right now. So we just gotta check with Luciana, make sure that she's
Yeah,
available.
I actually, the 11th I can't do,
Okay.
so.
Do it later in the week or the following or before?
I could, I just can't do that particular, I can't do Monday, I'm available Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I could do, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Let's,
Again, let's check in with Luciana and let's see when she is available, because I think it's critical we have at least 3.
okay,
And if you
Oh.
need me as an extra, then Wednesday is better for me than Tuesday.
yeah, and I think I might have a conflict on the 13th also. Okay, well, we'll check in with Luciana and
Yeah, let's-
see if we can get the maybe Tuesday the 12th to work.
Yeah, we should ping her, get a email to her or something, so. it
Let
gets
me,
on.
I can, well, it'll be the middle of the night now, but I can.
Oh, yeah,
WhatsApp-
yeah, you
I
don't
can-
do it tonight, but. Okay. So it's to be determined.
Thank you for bringing that up, David.
But please, just if Luciana can't make it, reach out to me and I'll do what I can to join.
We
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, have we got everything covered, but
I think so.
we got it. Okay, I move then that we adjourn the meeting. Is there a
Second,
second? Are you in favor? Ruth,
Yes.
David,
yes.
and I am as well. Thank you all very much.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Have a
everyone.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Thank you.